All right. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and here we go. All right. Well, first and foremost, welcome in and appreciate your time today. This is going to be a session where we get to work through some of your goals for 2023. That is going to be something that everybody can take away from. And as we get off and running, welcome any thoughts, questions. You can drop it in the chat as we go along. But truly, this is intended for you to identify what it is that you want to accomplish this year, and rightfully so, start to break down how it is you're going to be accomplishing those goals. So I will continue to let people in as they get rolling, but to be conscious of everyone's time, let's get started. If you are going to be taking notes, and I encourage you to do so, I always love to begin by simply writing down your name and then a goal that you're going to try to achieve this year. This feels elementary, feels a little bit childish at times, but there is a psychological toll of simply putting your name on something. Could be typing it into a Word doc, however you are going to take notes in your phone. I am a big old school pen and paper fan, so if that is your interest. But as you identify this, the beauty of writing your name down on this piece of paper, as we do look at those goals, that goal, this paper, this next 30 minutes of conversation is going to be directed at you. Simply putting your name, putting your intentionality behind what you are trying to do today takes ownership. And that's really what we want to see today, is that you have taken ownership. One of the questions I love to ask as people see this separation between their name and their goal is that black line in the middle. What does that void simulate, or what does it kind of translate to us? This idea is one that we have been told since we were young kids. We all have potential. And I'm going to be one of the first to say I hate potential. In fact, today we're going to talk about how to eliminate that potential. What it is potential is saying that there is still a divide between who you are today and what you want to achieve. And truly, as you look at this outline, we want you to close that gap and to begin to succeed in your goals. So simply writing your name, writing something you'd like to achieve, we are going to be off and running. We're going to start by talking about financial planning. We're looking at the year ahead, and we're starting to discuss what is financial planning, why would I need it, how is it going to go through, and then as we look at the goal setting atmosphere, what are those steps? Where do we begin by enforcing a grit mindset and an ability to not fear failure, to learn from it, and then have the 3 Ps as we set our destinations and begin to track our success. That's going to be our conversation in a nutshell, and off and running. Why? Why is financial planning more important today than ever before? This is going to be something that you need to continually identify. This is the first time in history, truly the first time every individual is responsible for their financial futures. In the past, we didn't live that long. And then as we've kind of come into the Industrial Revolution, not only did we not live that long, but the idea of our company and somebody else taking care of our financial future. This is against our nature. We start to look at saving and hoarding and prioritizing ourselves. Naturally, over time, we have always been a shared economy. We've always been giving and making sure the community aspect is going to be a priority. And the financial game, the landscape has shifted and turned in the last 20 to 30 years. All of these measurements are speaking to us why financial planning, why goal setting, and why preparing in this sense is going to be such a priority. You are now sitting in the driver's seat of your money vehicle. You are in control of your financial future. You have to fight off some of your natural instincts to either spend or to give. And you have to see that this new game has new vehicles, has new opportunities, and is going to have new destinations that you're going to set for yourself. The what of a financial plan is simply reverse engineering. You're going to begin with that end in mind. As an athlete, as a student, as anybody who has set out on a journey, you identify this need to begin with the end in mind. Why I began the session writing down a goal is because we don't know where we're headed until we have that landmark. Once we have that landmark, we can reverse engineer our path to get there and even build some systems and some automations throughout, adding in efficiencies on our track to get there. So why we need a plan is because you are in control. What is a plan? It is simply a destination in our future, not mega money millionaire financial freedom just yet, but where we're going to look at is our time horizons around what our goals are. Who is going to be impacted by goal setting this year? Anybody having a life event, whether that life event is just graduating college, having a kid, getting married, moving out on my own, going on a trip. Whoever is interested in life events needs financial planning to achieve that. Obviously, financial freedom being a part of that. People who want X, Y, Z, people who want expertise, people who want to understand why and where they're going, or people who just want to sleep easy at night knowing their financial futures are being taken care of and that they are planning for them moving forward. As you look at building your team, this is also going to be an aspect of what a financial plan is going to be associated with. I like to call it the A team. You have an advisor, you have an accountant, you have an attorney. Some of you have agents of some sort. All of those are going to be measurements and people coming into your session and your aspect of what financial future holds for you. So as you look at the why, the what, and the who, you get to decide, where is your plan starting? Where is it going? Why is it going to be a prioritization for you? We must begin to look at goals, not so much as a sacrifice. I don't sacrifice for something I'm setting as a goal. I prioritize the things that I am going after as a goal. This is one slide that I'm sure some of you have seen before, but it is the idea of the train industry versus that personal automobile. As we have looked at the last 30 years, 90+% of pension systems, which in this analogy represent the old school train industry, have gone extinct. This is no longer going to be the main form of transportation to financial freedom for you. Today, you are in control of your financial future. You have to sit in the driver's seat. You have to decide the destination, the road, and even how fast you are going to get there. So this is just that simple analogy of the train industry, which was setting a train track and following one simple direction, versus the personal automobile that's going to have a lot more twists and turns, but it gives you the most powerful tool in the financial world today, that idea of autonomy, that idea of taking control and taking ownership. This is one that we got to begin with. We understand now that a financial plan is going to be necessary, is going to be essential, but we have to begin to come to grips with failing. Everybody sets out on these goals and expects it to just happen, come to fruition, and be an easy road. The reality is we're going to fail along the way. We cannot get derailed. We cannot get discouraged. So as we look at this idea of failure, I love to look at my personal journey. And if I were you, I would look at the beautiful things you have failed at in your past and what it has led you to, what you have learned from, what kind of armor it has provided you, but more importantly, how it has provided the course to where you are today. I look at my failures. We can go directly with the football world, which everybody likes to start with. I got cut 12 times in the NFL, 12 times, told no, told to clean out my locker and to head home. My dream was over. But every time I left one of those locker rooms, I began to look at who was in that room, what they were doing, and how I could start to take from that failure. What was I going to take as a lesson? What was I going to take with me as I continue to grow? I back up even to my childhood, playing in the backyards with my brothers, playing a game my dad invented called King for a Day, which we played hundreds of times. And I only won King for a Day twice in my youth. Again, getting comfortable with this idea of failing, because failing is only final if you let it be. You can learn, you can grow from every step, every misstep, and every failure. My first paycheck is going to be the last example I like to share. My first paycheck came in and went out the day I made it. That to me is a financial fail. I had no idea about saving, no idea about investing, no idea about how to use my money correctly and wisely. And yet that failure 15 years ago has led me to becoming a certified financial planner, has led me to speaking with you all today, and has led me on a mission to make sure less and less people head down that road of financial failure. So Todd, take a moment, pause, think through some failures, some examples that you have had that you are proud of today, even though it was a loss, even though you were maybe discouraged at the moment. Something led you here, something strengthened you that you really need to take ownership of. This is a moment, this is something that you need to be free in thinking and seeing how it has taught you that essence of being gritty, that essence of responding, that essence of not letting a no or a loss turn you away and stop you from achieving whatever that goal is. We set one at the onset, we're going to set one a little bit later, but never think that road to becoming, to achieving your goal is going to be that smooth, easy path. There's going to be a roadblock. There's going to be a gap. There's going to be something that you may have to pivot and change directions to get around. But as you identify that, that is going to be a massive, massive opportunity for you. And again, I love calling myself a great failure. If you look at the first company I tried to start, failed during the pandemic, went away. Goals I set for myself last year, didn't quite achieve, failed at them, but each of them pushed me farther. So don't run away from this identity as a failure. It is something that will give you a badge of honor. It will give you a badge of protection. And failing is one of the beautiful things that the more you do it, the less scary it is. There is no boogeyman anymore. I'm not afraid of failing because I know it can't and won't defeat me. Simply failing reduces the fear of future failures. So again, under that name, under your goal, take a moment and reflect upon what you have failed, quote unquote, failed at in your life that has brought you here today. Could be academically, could be physically, could be emotionally, spiritually, whatever that is. Recognize your path, recognize your journey, because you're about to begin a new one. You're about to set out on a new destination with your new goal. You're going to have to rely upon this idea that failing is going to be a part of that experience. So as we identify those failures, as we move on from that concept, that thought, we do want to transition into this idea of how do we build our grit? How do we find the items in our life that are going to be worth overcoming some of that failure, some of that defeat with? And the first one is going to be a question of finding your energy. What are you passionate about? Looking at your week of work, what is the one meeting, the one person, the one topic that gives you some fire, gives you some energy? Because if you don't have that, you're never going to find your passion. You're never going to get up. And whether you're a 5 o'clock riser or a 7 a.m. riser, you're never going to get out of bed and say, all right, Wednesday, I got to do X, Y, and Z, but then I get to go and do this. It is finding that it is finding that thing that is really going to be that self-motivation. Again, nothing is going to be a smooth, easy road, but finding things that you're passionate about, things that provide you with energy. All of us looked at the pandemic through different lenses. Personally, I'm an extrovert. I like being around people, which makes this virtual bubble kind of even more strange for me. But as you look at that ability to go out and find energy from people, that was a passion that was lost for me that I get to enjoy now today. What are your passions? Where in your day do you pick up a coin of energy? One of the best kind of experiments and quotes about extroverts and introverts is an introvert wakes up each day with 5 coins in a bag. They walk around and they hand one of those coins to every person that they interact with. And by the end of the day, they have an empty bag. An extrovert wakes up and has an empty bag. Every person they encounter, everybody they're around, they get 1 coin from, and they end the day with a full bag. Using that analogy, using that thought process, where are you getting coins? What passion, what thing is providing you to end the day with a full bag and end the day with some excitement and some encouragement? So identifying this thing and this idea has no relation with talent. What am I best at today? What can I stand on a table and say, nobody can beat me here? That's not where passion will drive you to be better, but you don't have to be naturally gifted or naturally talented to be passionate about something. Passion is anything that you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that you become obsessed with. What is that first thing that pops in your mind? If I gave you a free hour each week, what are you spending it on? How are you using that time to invest in yourself? That is where you're going to start to explore and identify what it is you are passionate about. Second part of grit, we have our passion. Now we need our perseverance. This is that one that you're going to get punched in the mouth. You're going to get kicked down. You're going to fall down and want and have that thought. We all have it. I don't want to get up. I don't want to get up today. I don't want to go do that today. I don't want to be that. This is where you find your toughness. This is where you find your internal voice. I love to share with people, cockiness is an external voice. Confidence is an internal voice. What is that voice that you are starting to say to yourself? As you look at that goal, that destination you set for yourself, one of the biggest pieces is I set my destination. I'm passionate about it. It's going to give me energy, but on a daily basis, I have to be ready to lose. I have to be ready to lose 99 times to get that win. Sales teams understand this first and foremost. They know getting started, cold calls, anything like that, you're going to get 99 no's. I actually have it posted on my desk right now. It says, go get 99 no's, because a win is on the other door of that. Behind that element, behind that hurdle is going to be where you find that success. Most people turn around, say it's too hard, say it's too tough. Most people get close, but they don't create that ability to lose without being defeated. This idea of no longer fearing your failure will actually liberate you. Most people don't even set goals because they're afraid of failing. Most people don't achieve their goals because they let a day of failure derail them. You got to begin to see. Tuesday woke up, didn't get my whatever goal was done. That's fine. I noticed it. I'm conscious of it. I'm tough enough to bring it back Wednesday and try again. Don't let missing on Tuesday throw you off the rest of the week. Be comfortable getting a no, be comfortable getting a loss, be comfortable seeing that, and find your perseverance, find your toughness that is going to take you and pull you through and keep on going. Again, I love to say it, failing reduces the fear of failing. There is no more boogeyman. Last but not least, before we kind of shift to identifying what our goals are going to be this year, we have to be patient. Goals are all about the marathon, not about the sprint. They are looking at things through a different time horizon. We got to begin to see sometimes and oftentimes the short-term win or the short-term payoff is actually a long-term detriment. When we start to identify our habits, this is one of the biggest realizations people don't understand about habits. A habit is saying, I'm comfortable taking the short-term pain for a long-term gain. The reverse of that is accepting the short-term gain for a long-term loss. If I look at my habits, why does the Oreo cookie satisfy so much? Because in the moment right now, it gives me something that I savor, something that I enjoy. Long-term, I know it's a bad thing. But if I can build my habit to outweigh and prioritize the long-term over that short-term, my patience and my perspective has begun to shift. So as you identify what is your long-term and short-term goals, you have to begin to see naturally we shift and go towards the short-term. I want some sweets. I want to sleep. I want to rest. I want We have to identify what that long-term vision is. And as investors, this is a perfect analogy around looking at what your short-term and long-term goals are. Over the last few years, people have gone a short-term, I want to jump in a single stock. I want to jump in a cryptocurrency or an NFT. I want a short-term win that's going to change everything. Or I maintain with a strategy. I maintain with my purpose. I maintain with my knowledge and understanding of what the long-term investment time horizon does. And I realize my patience, my payoff, my ability to not chase the short is going to be exactly landing me where I want in the future. Remind yourself, if you're going to fail, fail fast. Fail in the short term, fail now, but learn from it, find the perseverance, and continue to chase that passion. But looking at any goal, a marathon, not a sprint. We're going to have some measurements here in a moment where you get to measure the sprints, the weeks that go by. That's a good measurement, but that is not your goal. You got to begin to look at things through that long-term time horizon, have the patience to be able to go and achieve it. So now we want to shift a little bit. Now we understand with grit, we got to be patient, we got to have perseverance, and we got to have passion. So how do we start to identify what our financial goals in 2023 are going to be? There are really two big categories we're going to go, but I want you to open the door to whatever is personal to you. Remember those life situations we had a minute ago? If one of those life situations speaks to you, your goal should translate and connect to whatever that life situation is. This one's going to be reviewing your cash need. If I am starting in my finances, if I'm starting in my career and my goals, I have to begin by looking at where my cash need is going to come about. So as I look and identify cash need, I'm going to measure my in, I'm going to measure my out with expenses, and I'm going to look at measuring what I want as my goals. Perhaps one of my goals this year is to look at my base salary. 2022 saw inflation of 7+%. If I didn't get a 7% raise, I technically lost some money last year. So what is one of my goals in 2023? I have to begin to identify ways to add value to a company, to my company, that are going to reward my base salary. If I look at my investments, well, maybe I can make up for inflation with my investments. This is why the mindset of a saver is no longer a viable financial plan. We saw inflation of 7%. If you're sitting in a savings account getting 1%, you're losing a lot of money each year. We have to begin to see as an investor why our goals are going to be so important. So is my goal this year to simply become an investor? Is my goal to take the second step as an investor? Not just the first, I bought an index, but now I'm going to go deeper down this road. Maybe my idea of an investor is going to even shift, and I'm going to start to focus and learn about a different sector of the economy, a different way, and a different idea of investing. Real estate becomes a great example. As you look at that side income, side hustle, this is where every entrepreneur begins. I have something I like to do, I'm passionate about, that I want to do on the side, but it can't replace my mainstay, can't replace my base salary. So what do? I do it on the side. I start to earn another paycheck. I begin to diversify my income streams, something I encourage. I get to work with professional athletes all the time. They have a great base salary, an incredible one over the last few years, how much it's grown. But I encourage all of them in the off season to identify what is the other leg that they are going to be standing on. How do you set up and protect yourself from an income resource? Where is that? And it could be the gig economy, it could be contracting, could be a digital asset, whatever that means for you. Identify how and where can you begin to set up a second stream of income, even if it's just $100 a month. That adds up to $1,200 in the year. That's a good starting place, And then you look at your income and you might say, well, I want to start contributing to my 401k, or I want to start grabbing some of the other employee benefits that I'm able to receive. What are those goals that you were going to set for yourself? Maximize and max out my 401k, or is it just starting a 401k? Maybe it's seeing what the employer match is going to be and making sure I go and achieve that. That's my goal this year with my 401k. Looking at those items, you can set a goal for each and every one of those 4 columns. Shifting now to what's going out, looking at our expenses. What is a goal I can begin to set for my expenses? Living expenses, very easy goals to set. Maybe I reduce a subscription. Maybe I reduce going out, so many nights a week. Maybe I reduce how much I'm shopping. It is a great stat and a great question of how much of the world's population do you think has ever been shopping? I was asked that last week in just a global perspective. There's a third of humans alive that have never shopped a day in their life, meaning they've never gone to a store without a need, never gone to a store without knowing exactly what they were going to buy. I, as a financial literacy person, I like those kinds of examples and those kinds of global realizations as we all think we understand what the world we live in today is. Bills. I look at bills each and every time and go, wow, where can we reduce a bill? Where is something that we're no longer using? Where is a package that we can gather and reduce our pricing? What is a bill service that we can look at and set a goal to get out? My mortgage. A lot of people look at their mortgage. My financial goal is to be debt free. I want to pay off my mortgage. That is an emotional task. That is an emotional goal for yourself. If that's your goal this year, to start to make an extra mortgage payment, or to start to look at when in my career am I going to be out of my mortgage, or look at I want to open a second mortgage for a second home or an investment. Identifying what you want to do with your debt, removing it, reducing it, or adding to it. All of those can be financial goals. Last but not least, with that student loan tuition, 2 streets here. I am either A, looking to pay off my student loans, or B, looking to afford my kids to go to college and to have those experiences. So as I look at dollars going out, I want to start to identify where is the wins? Where can I find a goal that I'm setting that I'm going to begin to reduce one of those elements? Last but not least, and usually the most fun to talk about, actual goals in your financial plan. I want a down payment for a car, down payment for a house. I want to go on a dream vacation or buy that dream car luxury item. I want to start to invest in different properties, or truly my goal this year is to begin down the road to achieve financial freedom. I get to identify where I have my polling, which is my income increase, my expenses decrease, or looking at what I have in a financial goal that I really want to be able to share. So as you look at those pieces, again, cash management, a big area where you can figure out on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. You don't need to budget every dollar and every dime, but if you set up some principles, set up some rules, set up some goals, you can find success in your planning. Next, I want to move to, if cash management is not that goal that I'm looking to set, I'm a little bit more elevated or on levels where I want to identify and improve my net worth. That's going to be a categorization of what do I want to start? What do I want to focus on? How do I want to identify what it is I am doing today? Well, we're going to begin obviously in that banking account atmosphere. If I do start having that second income and that side hustle, I have to set up a savings account just for that income tax liability. Entrepreneurs don't have a company that helped them pay that kind of tax liability. And so you all need to begin to focus and prioritize there. If I do simply just look at my savings and checking account and how I can set up a goal, what if I begin to automate some of my bills, begin to automate some of my debt payments? What if I begin to automate a transfer from my checking account of $20 a week to my savings account? If I can begin to build those systems into the base level foundation of my financial plan, which is our bank or credit union accounts, that is where I begin to build efficiencies throughout the rest of my plan. So as I look at those simple, straightforward, early accounts, what is a goal I want to set for myself there? Going down into my investments and retirement accounts, again, is it simply to just get started? Is it to start saying I'm going to put in $100 a month into my investment accounts, $100, $1,000 a month into my brokerage or 401k. How much am I willing to start to commit to my future? That is a monthly payment. I need to pay future me first. The first of every month in our 5 money buckets we go through in Money Vehicle. The first of every month is pay your future self first, making sure a percentage, 10%, I made $1, I saved a dime, 10% is going to future you, looking at that brokerage, looking at that 401k, seeing what you want to prioritize. Roth is something that I would challenge each and every one of us, and we go through it in different sessions. Roth IRAs, there are also Roth 401ks, 403bs, all of those have accessibility. So looking at a Roth account is saying, I am comfortable being taxed today. Traditional 401k says, tax me later. I want a tax break today. Roth says, tax me today, never tax me again. Perhaps one of my goals this year is to open a Roth IRA with another side of income, or simply separate from my company 401k. Great goal this year. Look into and open a Roth IRA. We'll talk about that more deeply in other sessions. And then as I look at kind of the investment world and my personal assets, when I start to set up these goals, what are some goals I want to set for myself at my company with my company benefits? Maybe I do want to start to look at rental properties. Maybe I want to start to look at starting a little business or joining and investing in other people's businesses. Maybe I want to start to prioritize my future health. We have identified that your health insurance and costs over your lifespan are going to be the biggest impactor of your financial freedom. Let me say that again. Your health is going to be, if not the one of the biggest impactors of your financial future. So if you can start today prioritizing and putting some money in an HSA, in an HRA, how can you begin to prepare and plan, set a goal for that type of liability? Primary asset, looking at our home, we have looked at goals of buying my first home. Maybe it's I bought my starter home. I want to buy a bigger home because I have a kid or two on the way. Looking at paying down my mortgage. Lots of goals we can start to set around personal property and personal assets. And as we shift to that other side, we've talked about that debt management. You can drop beneath that net worth number and start to look at college planning and a trust. Not a will, living wills, different conversation, different topic for another day. But as we look at family planning, maybe it's your next generation, maybe it's the generation beyond them. What goals do I want to start to set up for their future education, for their future lives, for their future families? Those are all goals you begin to set today and again, start to drip into. If you have not built a net worth, feel free to use this template. Very simple, straightforward. If a goal of yours this year is to simply know, what is my net worth? That's a great goal. It is a snapshot of where you are today. That cash management, cash flow, that is a fluid item of what is going in, what is going out. This is simply a picture of where you are today. What is neat to do is 1 year later, 5 years later, 10 years later, to see where and how you're impacting that net worth. Simply starting with your assets on the left, your liabilities on the right, and looking at that net worth. Anybody who's taken Accounting 101 understands the formula assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. In this case, net worth. Assets equal liability plus net worth. So that is a fun calculation and a fun formula for us to use. So the question becomes, I put my name, I put my goal. I'm starting to realize I need to have some financial, some physical, some family, some fun, all kinds of goals set for me. So as I look at what I am willing and what I am not willing to do, either can be your stepping stone to achieving a goal. So as you look at setting your goals, we like to use the RICH acronym. R is going to be for reachable. This is something that you are going to accomplish in 2023. This year, what are you setting out to do? Stop with mega money millionaires. Stop with financial freedom and retirement. Stop with buying my dream $1 billion house. What can you do in the next 12 months to set up your life and your future? What is a reachable goal in the next 12 months for you? That is a big, big piece of the puzzle. This is an individual. You set up a reachable goal for you. This cannot be your family, cannot be your parents, can't be your friends, your teachers, whoever, can't be your boss, can't be your coach. This is an individual goal. This is your purpose and your why. You have to center around what it is you are trying to accomplish. As I look at my goal, it is only mine. Why I prioritize it is my reasons, and that's why I'm going to get up and continue to chase it. Controllable. This has to be something within my control. Saying I'm going to go make 42% in the stock market is not in my control, despite what some people in New York will tell you. Looking at today and saying, I can start or I can stop doing an action, that makes it controllable. My actions will lead to my goal. So what do I control that I can stop or start doing that is within my control? Last one, I would argue, is the most happy. Take a moment and reflect. Why is this going to make you happy? Is this measurement something that, if you achieve it, is going to put a smile on your face at the end of the day? That is the most important question. Is it going to bring you fulfillment? Is it going to bring you to a place that you are going to be proud of, that you want to be? RICH, as you set your goals, go back at your original goal or begin to set a new one right now. Is it reachable this year? Is it your priority? Is it within your control? And when you accomplish it, is it going to make you happy? I like to again say reverse engineer. So we set that destination in a goal. Bam. That's our 1 year. What are you going to start doing right now to achieve that in 1 year? Bring that to fruition. As you look at month by month, you can simply divide your goal by 12 and realize what you got to do each month. Or you can look at each month, what are you going to stop doing to prioritize your goal? I'm going to stop buying this, or I'm going to stop spending time there because this is my goal now. And then week to week, what is one thing you can learn to bring your goal to fruition? So I love to track by inches. Every day, every week, every month is simply an inch in measurement. So I learned in professional football, watching a 16-year NFL linebacker go through drills, go through things. We would run 40 yards. He'd run 45. We'd run 50. He'd run 55. We'd go do a set of 10 on a bench press. He'd do 11, and he'd slide on 2.5s on each side. Finally, I asked him, I said, I don't understand. Why is it hard for you to slow down? Or 5 pounds on a bench press, what is that ever going to equate to? And you begin to identify. He said, I come in every day and I steal this. I steal an inch each and every day, because an inch can lead to a yard to a first down to a touchdown gets us to our wins. Wins take me to my goal, my Super Bowl. I come in every day and I steal an inch. As you flip your mindset around fearing failure, around going after a destination, after achieving your goals, begin to measure your little victories. I myself have little post-it notes of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What was my win today? What was my inch today? Measuring those, reflecting on those, a good seed mental health to plant in you. You're going to hit some speed bumps. You're going to have days that are not all positive. You're going to have, but when you are able to look back on your inches and see little by little that you are achieving what you set out to do, you will find that passion, you will find that energy, you will begin to form that grit and overcome any hurdle. So find a way to measure. What is your weekly measurement? What is your monthly measurement? Inch by inch, what is going to be your trackable system as you begin to set out on this new destination and this new goal of the year? After you know how you're going to measure, write it down and send it to somebody. write on a piece of paper, text them, email them, put it in a social media, wherever it is. Find your accountability partner. Find somebody who's going to say, I know you are going to achieve this goal this year. I'm going to check in with you at the beginning of February and see if you got January done, or I'm going to check with you every Friday. It'll be a good time to just catch up and make sure you're doing all right. But I need somebody to give my accountability to. They're going to not just push you when you need it, they're going to encourage you when you need it, and they're going to hold you accountable. They're not going to do it because they want to see you fail. They're going to do it because they want to help you succeed. So write down your goal in some form or fashion and make sure somebody else is enjoying and utilizing that. Last but not least, on that idea of persistence, tolerate your mistakes, tolerate your fail. Don't beat yourself up about it. I missed Wednesday. That doesn't mean I got to miss Thursday. I missed last week. Doesn't mean I got to miss this week. Accept that you are going to miss. Accept that you are going to fail some days. Don't beat yourself up. Encourage yourself. Find that energy again to keep going. Remind yourself why you set out on this destination, why you set out on this goal. This is going to be an amazing year, an amazing opportunity for you. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Stop the recording.